Hi, I'm Eric,
I'm Heather.
and we're pre-engaged.
Welcome to another pre-engaged mailbag video.
Jake from Bargersville, Indiana asked us, what are practical ways to resolve disagreements and bring peace in them?
Well, conflict is going to be a part of your relationship. When I say conflict, I don't mean every conflict is going to be a huge fight. You're not going to be, throwing glasses at each other or anything like that. But whether it's, do you want pizza or Chinese food? Do you want a comedy or action movie tonight? There's going to be conflict constantly. Two people can't live together and always agree unless one of them is not being honest.
That's very true. Then some conflicts are rougher. So when
Mhm.
one person accuses another person, that's a setup for a crazy conflict. Or if one makes a life-altering decision without talking to the other person, look out. There's a lot of conflict that does come up in a relationship just because two people are different. So, yeah.
Yeah, and whether it's a mild pizza or Chinese food kind of fight or a knockdown drag out, hey, I took a job in another country and didn't tell you about it, honey, type of conflict. You're going to have conflict in your marriage. Just expect it. It's not abnormal.
Right. So there are a few tools that we wholeheartedly recommend when it comes to resolving or preventing conflict.
Mhm.
One of my favorites is a tool that we call Pick Three, Pick One. So we love this tool because it prevents a lot of arguments. So have you ever had this conversation? So honey, where do you want to go out to eat? Well, I don't know. Where do you want to go out to eat? Well, I don't know. And then you go around and around and around, right? And then you get frustrated. Well, enter Pick Three, Pick One. So one person chooses three restaurants, and that he or she wants to go to. The other person chooses one of those three restaurants. And so that way each person has a say, and so there's not this half an hour wait and delay to figure out where you want to go out to eat. You just pick three, you just pick one, and then you go off to eat.
Mhm.
This also works with movies or decorations or music or anything that has a lot of different options. And so that way you just consolidate it down very quickly. Both people have a say, and you move on, and both people are happy.
It has been a huge blessing to us, definitely.
Yes.
Another tool we love is the weekly meeting. The weekly meeting is just a time you can get together when you're not stressed, when you're not running around from work or church activities or whatever you have going on in your life, where you can sit down and really talk about the week and kind of air things out. And what happens during the week is, let's say you have, I don't know, let's say Eric were to hurt my feelings, maybe not even realizing it. I can, yeah, never happens. So I can write that down on my list to talk about at the meeting. And then let's say I've asked him 14 times, please pick up your socks. Seriously, I've slipped down on him before. Write that down in my book. Well, and it sounds like, well, why am I keeping a record of wrongs? That doesn't sound biblical. But here's what happens. Right before your meeting, you can look at your list after you have rested, and we definitely recommend the meeting to be after you've had
Hmm.
a good night's sleep. I can look at my list and say, you know what, that's not really even an issue for me anymore. I was just aggravated that day. Cross it off, and cross off the ones that just don't matter. And then the ones that are left, like, okay, you called me a name in front of my friends and really hurt my feelings and embarrassed me. That would need to be brought up and discussed. So after you have crossed off your list and you have what's left, sit down and one at a time kind of go back and forth and discuss the items on your list. And we encourage this because it keeps short accounts. You get to kind of clean out your relationship every week. It's like taking the trash out every single week instead of letting it pile up until it's unlivable. So you have the opportunity to talk it out when you're not in the heat of battle and resolve things, keep things short. So when you don't have time during the week to talk through every conflict that comes up, Saturday morning at 10 or Sunday at 3 p.m. or whatever, we're going to have our meeting and we can talk about it then. Brings a lot of peace.
Absolutely. Also, think before you speak. That's another. It's not really a technique. It's kind of like this thing that you normally hear throughout your life, but most
Mm-hmm.
people don't do it.
Yes.
So think before you speak. Some words feel good for a few seconds if you're shooting them out like daggers, but they can cause lasting damage, and it's not good for a relationship. So ask yourself, will the statement help our relationship in the long run, or am I just trying to get even? If you're trying to get even, it's not good, and don't say it. It's not worth it in the long run.
Absolutely not. And then take a break. Eric and I found very early in our relationship that when we just pounded away trying to resolve conflict, a lot of times what we were really trying to do was trying to prove how we were right. So the conflict kept spiraling and spiraling and spiraling until it's 3 a.m. and we are still in conflict. Instead of, if we had just kind of said, look, we're not getting anywhere, let's take a break. You go in your corner and I'll go in my corner for 15 minutes. Let's just breathe. And we took that time to kind of process and pray and then come back and talk about it when we're not furious with each other. when we started doing that, it made a world of difference
Mhm.
because, you go away and pray, and sometimes the Lord convicts your sweetheart or your spouse about the situation. Y'all can come back and talk, and then other times you pray and you're like, wow, I realized that I said some things, or this is how I'm wrong. But it just kind of gives you that breather, and then you can come back and really work things through and save yourself hours
Yeah,
turmoil.
yeah,
Hours.
absolutely. And we go over more tips and techniques with our clients as well, but we hope that that's a good start for you.
Mhm.
Always remember that the other person means more to you than winning the argument. Winning the argument is not worth hurting the person that you love. And remember, James 1:9 says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. And remember, God gave you 2 ears and one mouth, and use those in proportion.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you'd like to see another pre-engaged mailbag video, please click on our contact form and send us a question. We'd love to hear from you and help you too. Grace be with you.